Sydney's underworld has been gripped by an unprecedented wave of gangland shootings since late 2020, a bloody feud that has claimed dozens of lives and destabilised the balance of organised crime in Australia's largest city. Among the many names now woven into this violent saga is that of Marvin Oraiha, a young man who, by most outward measures, appeared far removed from the upper tiers of organised crime. Yet, on the 22nd of May 2023, he became the victim of an execution-style assassination carried out with chilling precision in the driveway of his family home. His death soon sparked a major investigation exposing hidden connections between multiple gangland shootings. In this video, we'll trace who Marvin was, what happened on the day he died, and how police closed in on the men they believe were responsible. Despite being thrust posthumously into headlines as the victim of a gangland hit, Marvin Oraiha did not fit the traditional image of a hardened criminal. At the time of his death, he was working as a barber while also studying project design, hoping to build a more stable future. Police records show Marvin had a minimal criminal history, mostly limited to traffic-related offences. He was not, by any measure, considered a major player in the city's criminal ecosystem. Yet, investigators acknowledged he did have low-level associations with the Comanchero bikie gang, one of Australia's most feared and violent outlaw motorcycle clubs. Detectives stressed he was not a member, nor was he a figure of significance to them prior to his murder, but his associations placed him on the edges of a dangerous world. This connection was underscored months before his death, when Marvin was photographed partying in a Sydney CBD hotel room with Alan Moradian, a senior Comanchero member and one of the country's most notorious underworld figures. Moradian was far from an ordinary gangster. He sat at the top of Australia's criminal hierarchy as part of the Commission, a covert syndicate of drug barons who coordinated the flow of narcotics across the country. This shadowy group set prices, managed shipments, and dictated who lived or died in Australia's drug trade. Neither Marvin nor Moradian could have foreseen that within weeks of each other, they would both be executed in public, their deaths becoming the 17th and 18th murders in Sydney's ongoing gangland war since late 2020. The day of Marvin's murder began without incident. Around 1:10 PM, he was at Westfield Shopping Centre in Pitt Street Mall with his girlfriend. Surveillance footage later revealed that he was being watched by two unidentified men who appeared to be monitoring his movements, possibly communicating with others via their phones. By 3 PM, CCTV showed a black Mercedes arriving at Boomerang Road in Edensor Park. The driver retrieved a bag from a dark Toyota Kluger parked nearby before meeting with a white Audi A1 on Ebert Avenue at Elizabeth Hills. The two men from the Mercedes got into the Audi, one carrying the bag, and the car continued towards Hertfordshire Street where Marvin lived. The Mercedes returned to Edensor Park, its role seemingly finished. At approximately 4 PM, Marvin pulled into the driveway of his parents' house in a silver sedan with his girlfriend. It was at this moment that he noticed two gunmen approaching. He urged his girlfriend to flee, and she escaped from the car moments before the assassins opened fire. Bullets shattered the vehicle's windows and struck Marvin in the head, killing him instantly. Neighbours attempted first aid before police and paramedics arrived, but his injuries were fatal. Within minutes, police received reports of a white Audi burning at Cave Close in Green Valley. Witnesses described two masked men fleeing the scene and running through local streets. CCTV footage later captured them discarding items and moving towards Cordelia Crescent, where they entered a black Toyota Prado. That vehicle was then driven to Lewis Street in Bonnyrigg Heights, set alight and abandoned. The two men escaped through a nearby park and were picked up by a third vehicle, a dark blue Honda Accord, which was last seen leaving the area towards Wilson Road. Unlike the other cars, the Honda was never recovered, leaving a critical gap in the investigative chain. The complexity of the operation, with 3 vehicles, careful planning, and the destruction of evidence, bore all the hallmarks of a professional underworld hit. The murder prompted the creation of Strike Force Hackenberg, a joint operation involving detectives from the Liverpool City Police Area Command, the State Crime Command's Homicide Squad, and the Criminal Group Squad. Detectives worked to piece together Marvin's final movements, releasing CCTV footage to the public in June 2023 to help identify those involved. Just over a month later, on the 26th of June 2023, the violence escalated further. Alan Maradian was shot dead while sitting in his car in the underground car park of his Bondi Junction apartment complex. He was killed in broad daylight, targeted with the same ruthless efficiency that had claimed Marvin's life. For Maradian's killing, police later arrested Dut Dung, a man with alleged ties to Sydney's underworld. Detectives claimed that the 27-year-old was directly involved in carrying out the shooting, working under instructions from figures higher in the gangland hierarchy who sought to eliminate Maradian over drug disputes and fractured alliances. He was charged with murder and, as of 2025, remains before the courts awaiting trial. Following Dut Dung's arrest, his younger brother, 20-year-old Bol Dung, became the next target in the escalating gangland feud. On the 27th of February 2024, Bol was shot dead outside his Fairfield Heights home as he was loading his younger brother into his mother's car, moments before the school run. Investigators believe his murder was a direct act of retaliation for Dut's alleged role in Maradian's execution. In July 2025, a forensic breakthrough tied the Marvin and Ding killings together. Ballistic analysis confirmed that the revolver used to murder Marvin was the same weapon later used in Bol Dung's assassination. This chilling link revealed that tools of violence were being recycled between hitmen in Sydney's underworld, passed from one job to the next as part of an escalating cycle of revenge. The first significant breakthrough in the Marvin investigation came on the 12th of July 2023 when police arrested 22-year-old Simeona Sefania Lua at a home in Roselands. Lua was charged with murder, weapons offences and participation in a criminal group. Police alleged that although he did not pull the trigger, he played a direct role in the planning of the assassination and the movement of getaway vehicles. Lua's arrest was quickly followed by the charging of other suspects. On the 16th of March 2024, detectives arrested 23-year-old Joseph Lima at a property in Glen Alpine. He was charged with murder and denied bail. Police described Lima as the man believed to have been directly responsible for firing the shots that killed Marvin. Over time, a further 5 men were arrested in connection with the case, bringing the total number of charged individuals to 7 by late 2024. These arrests included individuals accused of supplying the firearm, providing logistical support, and assisting with the destruction of getaway cars. The pattern of charges reflected police assertions that underworld killings involve multiple participants performing different roles, from shooters and drivers to coordinators and enablers. Despite these arrests, questions lingered about who had ordered Marvin's murder and why. On the 1st of October 2025, more than 2 years after the killing, police announced a major development. 29-year-old Vailena Koloamatangi was arrested and charged with murder and knowingly directing the activities of a criminal group. His arrest marked the 11th person charged in relation to the case. Police alleged he acted at the behest of senior Comanchero figures and oversaw the operation as part of a broader underworld dispute. He was refused bail and appeared in Burwood local court the same day, with investigators describing him as the mastermind behind the plot. Vailena was already a familiar name to police long before his October 2025 arrest. For years, he has been linked in media coverage to organised crime circles, and notably, he has himself been the target of multiple assassination attempts. The first came in 2020 when he was sitting in a Toyota Camry with a friend. 2 men opened fire on the car, wounding him in the arm. The attack was believed to have been part of the wider Hamzi family feud, though no suspects were ever convicted. 3 years later, in September 2023, he narrowly survived another attempt on his life when gunmen ambushed him as he exited an underground car park in Campsie. Gunmen opened fire as he sat with Ahmad Ezai, a man known to have connections to figures opposed to the Hamzi clan. His closest brush with death occurred in October 2024 when he was shot while sitting in a vehicle outside a relative's Winston Hills home. Bullets struck his chest, leg and arm, but once again he survived. All 3 shootings remain unresolved, with investigators unable to bring anyone to justice for the attempts on his life. Despite these close calls, Vilena's stature within the underworld only appeared to grow. Police considered him a central figure connected to several organised crime networks, a man who moved between factions and was capable of orchestrating violence when disputes required resolution. His arrest in 2025, therefore, represented a dramatic escalation in the Marvin investigation. For the first time, detectives alleged they had identified not only those who physically carried out the shooting, but also the organiser who had sanctioned it, tying Vilena to the very violence he had so often narrowly escaped. The murder of Marvin Oraiha was not just another statistic in Sydney's gang war, it was a pivotal event that triggered a chain of killings, arrests, and investigations spanning more than 2 years. Police have now charged 11 people in connection with the murder, including the alleged shooter, getaway drivers, and most recently the man they believe orchestrated the entire operation. Yet, despite these advances, the ultimate motive for Marvin's murder remains clouded in uncertainty. As Vilena, Koloamatangi, and the others await trial, the forthcoming proceedings may finally shed light on the forces that led to Marvin's death. Until then, his murder remains a haunting reminder of the ruthlessness of Sydney's gangland conflict. A conflict where even those on the periphery can be dragged into the crosshairs with deadly consequences. Let me know your thoughts on this case down below. If you've enjoyed this video and want more stories on the Australian underworld, please consider subscribing and liking this video. It really helps me out and helps the channel grow. Till next time, take care.